bright yellow blooms. They were a strange pair, the two of them. Carlos, the short troop magician, sent by the Tide to consult on the vagaries of League fashion, dressed in a tight-fitting doublet and tighter hose of fashionable cut and the most brilliant blue and vermilion red. And the tall architect Colonia, her robes of the timeless Urizen form and the colour a delicate yellow, like the first flowers of spring. "What do you think, my friend?" said Carlos, striking an extravagant pose behind a straw mask of vibrant saffron, woven carefully into a fixed, joyous grimace. "I think you look like a fucking idiot," Colonia did not say. She was, after all, poised in all things. She might have said it if they were alone. She had known Carlos for the better part of a decade, after all, and they were close, fast friends, whatever their political disagreements. And now they were in the Tide together. Yes, alone she might have permitted herself that small violation of the principle of poise, but another was standing by, the nervous craftsperson who was showing them their wares. "It's certainly an arresting look," she said instead, quirking an eyebrow. "I cannot deny the dye catches the eye." "Ah, yes, indeed," the artisan interjected, detecting an opportunity. "All the dyes are sourced locally, you know, not just the ingredients, but crushed and mixed here too, and used within a handful of hours. It's more expensive to use in fresh dyes of this kind, but as you see, the results are quite exceptional." Colonia looked at the yellow mask on her friend, dressed in red and blue. He reminded her of the palette she had painted with when a small child. She slowly nodded. "Certainly exceptional. But what do you think, Carlos? Will it meet your exacting standards?" The man posed in a nearby mirror. Not that he was ever far from one, for she knew he kept several about his person at all times. "I don't think I'll make swoon of the season, not without the right earrings, but I certainly do like its general, how do the Assaveans say, non so cosa." She didn't think the Assaveans did say that, but she knew what he meant, and she didn't care to correct him. "And the magic?" she asked. He waved a hand dismissively. "Oh, the magic's fine, good even, plenty of puissance. Would be nice to perform those blasted farmers' plays in some finery for once, instead of relying on whatever cheap Marcher shite Meade's selling up the river." He nodded. Yes, quite good. You're sure the colour works?" She paused, looking at the salesperson, carefully weighing her words. "I think it's quite appropriate for your outfit, yes," she finally said. Carlos grinned. "Right, that's settled. Right, on to the next one then. Goodness, it's been jolly fun being up in the mountains with you, Colonia." She felt a very slight blush come to her cheeks and permitted herself a smile and a nod. "Quite so, Carlos, quite so. On we go." Overview. 2 years ago, the Imperial Senate created the Basilisk of the Bourse, an imperial title expected to advise Bourse seat holders about the way. They carefully observe the use of mithril, weirwood, white granite and ilium, and report any concerning behaviour or trends to the Imperial Synod. In particular, they have a particular ability to bring members of the Bourse to inquisition, with all the usual powers of the Synod to place sanctions on those they believe have strayed from the path of virtue. The Navarre Hellion of Bronwyn's Rest has held the title since it was created, and by all accounts are interested not only in their immediate duties, but also in improving the prosperity of the Empire as a whole. The tide still rises. The rising tide have visited Canterspire Circle at the behest of the Basilisk of the Bourse. During the summer solstice of this year, a would-be sodality calling itself the Rising Tide sent a representative called Gethwin Blood and Sweat to Anvil to discuss matters of prosperity with the Basilisk of the Bourse. Only those who were present for the conversation could tell you exactly what occurred, but by the start of autumn, the group seems to have sprung into action. A small cadre of enterprising merchants have made their way to Oporus in Morrow, and there introduced themselves to the leaders of the lumberjack crews at the Canterspire Circle. Apparently, Hellion of Bronwyn's Rest has asked them to put together proposals for the improvement of the seat, and that is exactly what they are here to do. While there is no official word from the civil service to back this up, Gethin is polite and enthusiastic, and the group makes sure to do nothing that would interfere with the day-to-day operations of the site. Few in Urizen would begrudge anyone the desire to make improvements to the world, so the Rising Tide are allowed to go about their business. Much of the group takes up residence at the Spire of Golden Wood, where their mission comes into greater focus. The Rising Tide have no interest in making the Canterspire Circle run more efficiently, or to produce more weirwood. Rather, their interest is in working out how to spread the seat's prosperity more broadly. A rising tide should lift all boats, after all, rather than just the largest ones. As it happens, the Spire of Goldenwood have a number of very strong opinions about how the prosperity of the Cantor-Spire Circle could best be used. This spire houses the finest dye makers in all of Urizen, or such is their proud claim. They have been producing fine yellow dyes from the heather that grows in and around the Great Weirwood Grove since before Urizen joined the Empire, and would welcome the chance to expand their operations. Their prosperity is ultimately limited by the difficulty in getting access to enough high-quality iridescent gloaming, a vital component in all the best dyes. The problem is where to get it from and how to pay for it. A tide of dyes. The Imperial Senate could construct a forum to allow the purchase of small quantities of weirwood from the spires of Morrow. The Rising Tide quickly put together a proposal that could benefit everyone. The Spire of Goldenwood have a small amount of weirwood growing near the spire, as do a number of spires in the area. Not enough by itself to create a regular supply, but if it were all bought together there would be enough to procure small amounts on a regular basis. The Tide proposed that the Spire of Goldenwood handle negotiations with the spires in the area, buying the goldenwood from them and then exchanging it with a representative elected by tally of the votes of manor site owners in exchange for large amounts of iridescent gloaming. This creates exactly the kind of harmonious circle the Rising Tide favour. The Spire of the Goldenwood can grow wealthy on the trade for their dyes made from the gloaming they buy. The local inhabitants will gain by selling their weirwood found nearby to the Goldenwood, and whoever is elected to obtain the gloaming for the spire will benefit from the weirwood, and can be expected to use the weirwood to benefit Morrow. What is needed to facilitate the trade is a reasonable warehouse where the weirwood can be stored, that can also act as offices for the new gloaming merchant. That would require a commission slot, 12 wains of white granite, 24 crowns, and take 3 months to build. It would need to be built near the Spire of the Golden Woods, and the title would need to be an Urizen position appointed by tally of the votes. The Rising Tide have asked that if this goes forwards, the title also be given responsibility to use the weirwood they gain to benefit the prosperity of Morrow. Eyes of the market. The Mirrored Machiarii can purchase 1 mask each season from the Spire of the Goldenwood for a year. The Rising Tide have identified another way to get the Spire of the Goldenwoods the iridescent gloaming they need. The Spire have a history of making beautiful magical foci, especially decorous masks. They don't produce many, for they are of limited appeal in Urizen. However, the cities of the League have an insatiable appetite for fashion and a great deal of disposable income. Perhaps someone in the League might be interested in a formal arrangement to secure masks from the Spire of the Golden Wood. And who better to assess the benefits of such masks than the Mirrored Machiarii? They are expected to act as a champion of fashion and design right across the Empire. They have a responsibility to celebrate true beauty. Obviously, the ongoing tensions between Urizen and the League could potentially cause problems with any such arrangement, but Gethin and his fellows argue that this is exactly why their proposal is so timely. Passions may run high and harsh words may be spoken, but when push comes to shove, the mutual benefits of prosperous trade can help to heal all but the most badly wounded friendships. Right? No investment is needed to facilitate this trade. The Rising Tide will handle all the administration and logistics for a small fee as part of their investment of time and energy in this prosperous arrangement. The Spire of the Golden Woods can only produce 1 mask a season for sale, but for the coming year, the Mirrored Machiarii can order any one of the above masks for the iridescent gloaming shown. If it is clear that the arrangements are working to the benefits of both parties, the Mirrored Machiarii buys 2 or more masks in the coming year, then the Rising Tide will try to make the arrangements permanent, for at least the time being. Otherwise they will look elsewhere. For listeners at home, the masks available are the Straw Mask, Corsair's Bloody Mask, Captain's Mask, and Striggine Mask for 4, 9, 14, and 20 iridescent gloaming respectively. Further reading: Basilisk of the Bourse, the Mirrored Machiarii, and the Cantor-Spire Circle.